Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another video. My name is AverageBulb, and today's video is a bit of a special one. I'm starting a new series on this channel, which I'm planning on calling the AverageBestiary. So what is the AverageBestiary? The AverageBestiary is basically every episode I will give you 2 creatures, plus an extra bonus creature, all of which are completely of my invention and fit into the world of Dungeons and Dragons, along with stats, backstories, and of course, drawings of each creature. So I'm dead excited about this. I've got high hopes for it, and if you guys want to see more of it, then this series, then please leave a like in the comment section down below. Smash that like button. Well, not too hard though. You don't want to break anything. So today, as hopefully every episode of this new series, I have 3 creatures for you. First of all, the first one, of course, that we will be diving into, is the Tuflane. The Tuflane is a race of frog-like humanoids living in the tops of trees in, like, the Feywild, wet marshes, and jungles. They prefer, like, wet or moist or areas near water because, they are amphibians and they do require some amount of H2O. The Tuflane is notable for its strong arms that allow it to clamber around the tops of trees, its strong tail, which kind of secretes like kind of a solution that's kind of like sweat. It allows it to stick to the tree branches, hanging from them upside down, and just using its strength to, hang upside down and things like that. But the most notable thing about them is that they don't actually have legs. Their tail is a complete substitute for their lack of legs, and they no longer need them at this point. They can clamber along, or even just hop around the ground perfectly fine on their front legs and flopping back tail. Tuflane are incapable of speaking common or any other language, and instead speak the language of burble. A rough, guttural, kind of like, bubbling kind of sound, similar to those that actual frogs make. Where the inspiration came from is basically just the fact that we still need a good frog. #OneGoodFrog, or amphibian, or salamander, axolotl, or any other race of creatures that are roughly sentient in D&D. We need some kind of good creature under the classification of at least neutral. The thing that the Tuflane are most famous for, however, is not their lack of back legs or ability to climb around trees so easily. The fact that they commonly steal things. This is not done out of malice or even greed. It's simply done because they want attention. Tuflane are deeply interested in anyone other than other Tuflane that come near them. If it sees travelers or something down on the ground below the tree, it can follow them for miles on end as long as it remains interested. Playing little games with itself, like trying to remain concealed from them as long as possible. The average Tuflane is not beyond such small pranks and tricks as, for instance, swapping everyone's hats around while they're sleeping, etc. So the Tuflane is not beyond doing things such as waiting unseen on the uppermost branches of trees, and then dangling down by their tails and snatching such things as hats, swords, equipment, water, whatever, from travelers below and pulling it up into the larger branches, encouraging those travelers to basically just come up and try to get it from them, completely playfully. However, most travelers either get frustrated and just leave the item, it not being worth it, or they actually do the smart thing of not trying to get it, but instead tempting down the Tuflane with things like coins, gold, shiny things, and other objects of value, before just taking the stuff back. Items that are not returned to their actual owners are decorated the Tuflane's nest and even tree. However, the Tufflane is naturally terrified of violence, as it is not very strong whatsoever, more of like an NPC creature than an actual opponent that you are supposed to fight. It at the first sight of violence or any kind of weapon, it will scuttle back up a tree and book it as quickly as possible. In short, the Tufflane is a simple, sweet, playful, but otherwise cowardly creature, and is not something you probably want to actually join your party for any particular reason. But should you want to use a Tufflane in your personal campaign, or just look to see what it has, then here is the stats. I'm going to flash them up on the screen. You have several seconds to take a screenshot or write these down. Nonchalant whistling too much? Well. Anyway, what's not too much, or maybe it totally is the next creature. Behold, the antlion. Yes, it is literally an antlion. Well, it's more of like a centipede lion, so, whoops. Anyway, basically, for those that actually do know this, yes, antlions are a totally real thing that exist in the world that we can call home, Earth. That's not D&D. Anyway, they are small creatures that dig, like, tiny little, like, basically inverted, ant hills and when an ant or other small insect falls into it, it will grab them with its pincers and then destroy them and then eat them. So yeah, that's lovely. But this actual literal antlion is no different. It will, with using tremor sense, it will scuttle along and it will burrow easily through solid, like, mountains, and should any creature step above it, it will lunge up and hastily destroy them. So, the inspiration for I don't really know what the inspiration for the antlion was. Maybe it's just that classic hybrid kind of thing that just is very appealing overall. It had to be a centipede because centipedes are cool. That's basically it. The mane is basically the only lion-esque thing about it, and the lion is basically just to show its ferocity. Anyway, although the antlion is by no means very intelligent, it is intelligent enough to outsmart such things as, like, it's got, like, the same intelligence as, say, an ogre. It's not quite bestial, it's sentient enough. So it's possible that it will anticipate your next move if you're not the brightest bulb. Like me. Anyway, as said before, the antlion will lunge out of the ground when it's sensing trouble or travelers above, hastily making short work of its prey. But the antlion's one of the antlion's most dangerous attacks is not simply its claws or enormous gnarly pincers, but also its sandstorm attack. This antlion stores massive amounts of sand and usually dwells in sandy places that are trapped inside of its. Large amounts of sand are trapped inside of its mane. Should it shakes whenever in trouble, it shakes its head wildly, blinding any creature nearby for several turns with blinding amounts of sand and doing a small amount of damage, as well as pushing people back, especially people that are, like, far too close to the antlion. Overall, it is a pretty good big boss battle for a average player, which of course I also am, and it could also be a random encounter for a very advanced, high-level set of players. Sound interesting to you? Here are its stats. I won't start humming or whistling this time, I swear. Okay, I lied. There we go. Okay, I hope you got a screenshot or something of that. Anyway, it's that time of the video, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get to the bonus beast. Today's bonus beast is the Reflector Golem. Now, the Reflector Golem, before I just get to it, I'll just have to basically summarize it. The Reflector Golem was inspired by, say, like, Aztec or other places, things that worship the sun. However, it was made by far more peaceful people, and has therefore a much more peaceful and almost sentient personality other than normal golems. However, it does guard things and is incredibly powerful, able to use a powerful magnifying glass-like head to shoot beams of fire. To capture this magnifying glass-like head was rather difficult, so as you can see, I started with kind of a worm or centipede or even serpentine-like structure, however, quickly scrapped the idea for a much more humanoid approach. I took a lot of inspiration from old-fashioned diving helmets for the head, as they also had that cold, kind of emotionless, but also still very obvious mirror-like thing on the head that, naturally allows you to see it and see through it. Although its head and body are made of steel and even some gold-like joints and things like that holding it together, its arms are made of solid stone and are incredibly powerful and strong. Although it uses its strong arms to great and gory effect when it takes its turn to protect its temple, it does in fact have a much more powerful attack. It is able to magnify the powers of the sun to shoot a powerful and magically enhanced fireball at any enemy nearby. Naturally, this does need a recharge, or else it would be way too overpowered. The Reflector Golem was created by a religious society, a group of kind of almost kind of Buddhist monks kind of things that worship the sun and believe it to be the most powerful thing possible, essentially. So naturally, their guardians also serve the sun. They created the Reflector Golem to protect their temple from things like gnolls, goblins, bugbears, other things like that would like to pillage and loot them. However, they were peaceful people and did not make the golems into a war machine, and doing it with a kind of sentience that allows it to do small acts of good only in interest of protecting its people. As I got to the arms, I was a bit stuck, to be honest, but I actually did find that Autodesk Sketchbook. Yes, I do use Autodesk. What of it? It does actually have this kind of color palette thing, and I was able to easily mix and match some brown colors, although I was a little confused by why deep orange is in there. I'm colorblind, actually, so this was a tiny bit difficult still. To show the more peaceful side of the golem's personality, even as childish as that person and underdeveloped as that personality is, I allowed it to have a innocent little butterfly peacefully perched on its finger. It'd probably been sitting there for hours, the poor thing, trying to have that butterfly land on its finger, but it was very good at posing, so the picture was very easy. When I got to the legs, I was in a bit of a bind, because I wasn't naturally envisioning it to have joints, but for some reason that just didn't sit with me, so I made more of a triangular stump-like legs without actual joints, making although it a bit more uncomfortable and awkward to moving around, also more robotic feeling. Finally, the shading was done and the Reflector Golem was created. And don't worry, so are the stats. They are about to flash up on the screen in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And on that note, this actually kind of wraps up today's video. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope all the video editing here works out perfectly well. And I hope that you guys would like to see more of this series in the future. So if you have any suggestions for new creatures, or just have any comments on how today's video was, please leave them in the comment section down below. I could really use the comments, and I could really use the like, and I could really use the subscription if you're feeling particularly generous. So again, go ahead and slam that like button, but don't break the screen or keyboard. And in the meantime, though, this is AverageBulb signing off. I hope you enjoy these creatures.